Welcome to Stories for Sleep, a place where stories of science, history, and the human mind are told in a slow, gentle rhythm, created especially for the moments just before you drift into sleep. Here, you don't need to learn a lot or remember anything at all. You only need to listen and allow your mind to rest. In this video, we will explore some of the most fascinating truths about dinosaurs, but not in a loud or dramatic way. These enormous creatures that once ruled the Earth hundreds of millions of years ago will appear instead as quiet characters of time itself, beings that knew how to survive, how to adapt, and also how to stop. Through a softer lens, dinosaurs are no longer symbols of fear, but part of a larger story about life, natural rhythm, and the fragile beauty of existence. Stories for Sleep was created for nights when you feel tired, when your mind is still crowded with thoughts. Each video is an invitation. Put the phone down, relax your body, slow your breathing, and let these ancient stories carry you away from the worries of the present. Tonight, as the world of dinosaurs slowly unfolds in your imagination, I hope you will feel safer, lighter, and find it easier to sink into deep sleep. When we think of dinosaurs, most of us immediately imagine enormous, roaring, violent creatures, loud images often shaped by museums, films, or childhood memories. And perhaps that is precisely why your mind remains awake. It is stimulated by size, by drama, by unanswered questions that are rarely told at a pace slow enough to settle. Tonight, we will try a different approach. Not to learn more, but to look at dinosaurs as a deep part of human memory, a place where the mind can soften and sleep can arrive more naturally. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, these prehistoric beings are not merely fossils. They are symbols, images of primal strength, ancient instinct, and layers of the unconscious that existed long before you and I appeared. Perhaps that is why, even after tens of millions of years of extinction, dinosaurs remain vivid in our imagination. Not to threaten us, but to remind us humanity too is part of a very long stream of life. This video does not ask you to memorize species names, timelines, or scientific terms. Instead, it promises to offer the most interesting truths about dinosaurs, told in a slow, soothing rhythm, enough to gently engage curiosity, but never to strain the mind. You will hear about how they moved, survived, rested, and how that vast world eventually learned how to stop making space for new forms of life. Think of this as a gentle journey far into the past, where time moved much more slowly than in modern life. You don't need to do anything at all. Simply lie still, breathe evenly, and listen. Perhaps in the quiet of these ancient stories, your mind will rediscover a familiar sense of safety, and sleep will arrive as softly as a dinosaur's footprint fading into stone. Part 1. Stepping into the world of dinosaurs. Allow all tone, the movements of today, to gradually settle. No need to hurry. No need to think about anything more. Right now, as you listen to these words, imagine that you are standing before a very ancient door. This door is not made of wood or stone, but of time itself. When it opens, you do not step into a loud, violent world like the ones often portrayed in films. Instead, you enter a vast, slow, and profound space, the world of dinosaurs. This is where sleepy science invites you to step away from the rushed rhythm of the present and return to an era where life was not driven by clocks, schedules, or endless expectations. There, everything unfolded according to the rhythm of the Earth, day after day, season after season, millions of years passing like a single long breath. In this story, dinosaurs are not monsters roaring in collective fear. They were not born to frighten us. They were parents quietly guarding their nests under ancient sunlight. They were migrants crossing drifting continents along paths that have since turned to stone. They were hunters, but also the hunted, living within a delicate and far more balanced web of survival than we often imagine. When we slow our gaze, something very different appears. They do not represent violence, but adaptation. Not chaos, but a deep biological order. Carl Gustav Jung once said that ancient images never disappear. They retreat into the collective unconscious, where they continue to live as symbols. Dinosaurs in this sense are not merely prehistoric animals. They are memories of life itself preserved within the human mind, memories of a time when instinct, body, and environment were still one. That is why our fascination with dinosaurs, whether as children or adults, is not accidental. It is the quiet call of an ancient part of the psyche, a part that knows how to exist without constant control, how to live without rushing. On this journey, you do not need to remember species names or scientific terms. You don't need to learn anything at all. Just as when you prepare for sleep, what matters is not doing more, but letting go. Let your breathing slow slightly. Let your shoulders and jaw soften. Like dinosaurs did for millions of years, you do not need to prove anything. You only need to be present. Simply listen to this slow rhythm of storytelling and allow your mind to drift through prehistoric forests and wide plains where herds moved silently in a world untouched by modern haste. This is the beginning of a long but safe journey. A journey that does not take you farther away but deeper into time, into the memory of life, and finally, into your own sleep. And when you are ready, we will continue slowly into the age of dinosaurs where time was the ultimate ruler. As your breathing settles, you may begin to see dinosaurs differently. Not from above, not through cinematic roars, but from close by, almost as if observing living beings sharing your world. Dinosaurs did not exist, only to hunt and be hunted. They were born, they grew, they learned to move to avoid danger, and in many cases to care for one another. Fossilized nests found clustered together suggest that some species return to the same places season after season to reproduce. Healed injuries preserved in bone tell another quiet story, a creature that survived long enough after trauma for its body to repair itself, implying protection by the herd, or at least an environment safe enough for rest and recovery. In that world, dinosaurs had rhythms, times of movement and times of stillness, seasons of rapid growth and seasons of slowing down. Their bodies recorded time layer by layer like trees marking years in silent rings. There was no rush, no idea of becoming something else, only life unfolding at its own pace. And as you listen before sleep, what calms the mind may not be their size but their familiarity. Even in a wild, ancient world, life still needed rest, care, and safety. Across cultures and ages, humans have always been instinctively drawn to dinosaurs. Children remember dinosaur names more easily than those of modern animals. Adults continue to imagine and retell their stories. This fascination reaches deeper than size or strangeness. Jung called this the collective unconscious, a reservoir of archetypal images beyond personal experience. Dinosaurs in this sense are not merely extinct creatures. They symbolize ancient instinct and primordial power that shaped Earth long before humans appeared. When you listen to stories of dinosaurs, a part of your unconscious is listening to the evolutionary history of life itself. But these archetypal images do not come to frighten you. They come to be acknowledged. When told slowly and safely, dinosaurs lose their threat and become deep memory, a reminder that life was once vast, wild, and yet governed by the same natural laws we still live within. In this moment, as you simply listen without effort, your mind is doing what Jung called integration, allowing ancient images to exist without rejection. And when they are allowed, the body often relaxes, the heartbeat slows, the breath deepens. The story of dinosaurs then is not only about the past, it is a gentle bridge between the ancient world outside and the quiet forming within you now. As the world of dinosaurs becomes clearer, no longer rushed scenes but a vast, ancient, slow-moving landscape, you may notice something tender. Time flows differently there. Dinosaurs did not live by clocks. They knew no schedules, no urgency, no lateness. Their lives followed sunlight, seasons, and slow growth over decades, a rhythm without pressure to become anything other than themselves. Listening before sleep, your own mind begins to adjust. The fast thoughts and small worries of today lose importance. They may not vanish, and that is okay, but they grow smaller beside hundreds of millions of years of life's history. Jung said that when consciousness touches deeper psychological time, the ego naturally softens. No forcing is required, only widening perspective. And the ancient world of dinosaurs is one of the safest doors into that depth. Here, you are not the center, and that is a relief. You are a small, ordinary part of a living stream that existed long before you and will continue whether you are awake or asleep. So if your eyelids feel heavier, if your breathing slows on its own, if thoughts begin to drift, let it happen. The journey has begun. And soon we will move deeper into the age of dinosaurs, where time does not run but spreads gently. You don't need to hurry. You only need to be here. Part 2. The Age of Dinosaurs. The rule of time if humans measure time with clocks and calendars. Dinosaurs lived in an entirely different kind of time. They inhabited Earth for over 160 million years, a span the human mind can barely grasp. It is not merely long, it is too long to require urgency. During that time, mountains rose and eroded. Oceans opened and closed. Continents drifted like geological dreams. Dinosaurs did not rule through power. They simply existed long enough, fit well enough in harmony with their world. Time did not demand optimization. There were no short-term goals, no pressure to progress quickly. In Jungian terms, this is the time of the deep, unconscious, cyclical, slow, and free from constant ego intervention. And as you listen before sleep, your nervous system begins to recognize something important. Not everything needs to be dealt with right now. Dinosaurs were not one species, but thousands of living experiments unfolding side by side. Some were enormous and slow, others small and agile. Some lived in dense forests, others in dry lands, others near the poles. Evolution was not a race to be the best. It was a long symphony, each creature holding its own rhythm. Jung believed psychological growth works the same way. We do not progress in straight lines. We circle, repeat, sometimes regress, all part of the natural process. So when you lie down feeling not good enough or not fast enough, remember dinosaurs never rushed to become complete. And here is a gentle truth: dinosaurs never fully disappeared. Birds, light familiar, sleeping on branches tonight, are their descendants. In hollow bones, breathing systems, nesting behavior, the age of dinosaurs still whispers. Psychologically, this means the past does not vanish, it transforms. Within the unconscious, old experiences and ancient instincts reshape into lighter forms, just as dinosaurs became birds. When you hear birds in the morning, you are hearing echoes of 160 million years. And tonight, as you sleep, you continue an ancient cycle, resting so that life may go on. What matters here is not facts remembered, but feeling, the sense that time is not always chasing you, that there are slower, kinder rhythms. Jung called this primal safety, being held by an order larger than the ego. As your eyelids grow heavy, as your breath deepens, as thoughts loosen, let ancient time do its work. You don't need to control anything. Soon we will move into dinosaur anatomy and movement living machines shaped for this slow rhythm. For now, simply lie still. Part 3. Anatomy and movement living machines. After sensing the immense time dinosaurs lived within, we gently lower our gaze to their bodies. Not to analyze, not to measure, but to listen to how life designed itself. Dinosaurs did not have bodies to display power. They had bodies to endure. Their upright stance, legs beneath the body rather than splayed, was not bold ambition but intelligent gravity management. Weight transferred downward efficiently, conserving energy and supporting longevity. This is not the posture of haste. It is the posture of beings who knew they would be here a long time. In Jungian psychology, the body carries evolutionary memory, wordless wisdom. When we look at dinosaurs, we see pure bodily intelligence, unfragmented by anxiety or ego. From massive sauropods with necks like Earth's breathing, to chicken-sized species, each form answered the same question differently: how to live in harmony with this environment. There is no ideal body, only fitting bodies. Long tails, balanced movement, distributed force, and smoothed motion. Dinosaurs moved like slow rivers, powerful, unhurried. As you listen, notice your own body, your breath, the weight of your shoulders, the bed supporting you. Dinosaurs didn't think about moving. Their bodies knew, Jung said. The body is the unconscious, made visible. In dinosaurs' unconscious life, wisdom is clear, strong without tension, large without waste, stable without rigidity. Even immense size served function, heat retention, climate resilience, safety. Smaller species chose agility instead. No judgment, only diversity. And here is the lullaby: for modern humans, there is no single correct way to live. Your body, like a dinosaur's, carries millions of years of adjustment. It knows when to rest, when to move, when to be silent. The problem is not lack of will, it is not listening. Dinosaurs did not exercise to improve themselves. They moved because movement was life. As prehistoric twilight fell, massive bodies found rest. No force, no command, just a cycle closing. If your eyelids feel heavy, if thoughts scatter, this is not distraction. It is your body doing what dinosaurs did, shifting from movement to rest. As we continue, we'll explore hunting and survival not as tension, but as rhythm. For now, let your body rest within its own structure. Movement for dinosaurs was not effort, it was flow. Well-designed bodies do not overthink. They respond. Their joints favored stability over excess flexibility, allowing long hours of standing and resting without strain, something modern humans have largely lost. No gyms, no optimization, only fit. Dinosaurs moved slowly, not because they couldn't be fast, but because they didn't need to be. Even predators rested most of the time. Energy was conserved. Stillness was strategy. In Jungian psychology, psychic energy must be preserved. When ego controls, energy leaks. When body is trusted, energy organizes itself. Imagine a herd crossing ancient plains, no orders, no urgency, just collective bodily intelligence. Your body lying still is doing the same, adjusting heartbeat, softening muscles without command. You don't need to sleep correctly. Your body already knows. Dinosaurs lived almost entirely within this bodily wisdom. They were body. And that is why listening before sleep, something ancient in you feels safe, a world where the body is trusted. If sleepiness grows, if thoughts blur, this is good. Nothing to remember, nothing to master. As we move on to speed and survival, remember even strength has rhythm. For now, be like a prehistoric being in the right place, in the right posture, allowed to rest. The shape of dinosaurs was intelligence itself, silent, unplanned, deeply refined. Long necks, shared weight, muscles supported without strain. Movement negotiated with gravity. Modern humans often fight their bodies. Dinosaurs did not. They lived as designed. Jung warned that losing instinct means losing life energy. Dinosaurs show instinct as guidance. Even small species were exquisitely tuned. Movement flowed like water, no force, no resistance. In sleep, your body does the same, adjusting posture, releasing tension. You don't need to direct it. Imagine your spine as an ancient structure meant to be supported, not strained. Breath moves like wind through prehistoric valleys, slow even. Nowhere to go, nothing to prove. The body is not a project. It is a legacy of biological wisdom. As we later explore survival, you'll see the same rule: energy, only when needed. For now, let your body do what it does best, keep you safe, keep you whole, and gently lead you into sleep. Part 4. Hunting, Survival, and Speed. When modern minds think of predatory dinosaurs, they often immediately imagine speed, roaring, and violent chases. Yet if we listen more closely to what fossils and biology reveal, a very different picture emerges: slower, quieter, and deeper. For dinosaurs, hunting was not a constant state. It was a rare moment, activated only when conditions were truly ripe. Most of the time, even great predators like Tyrannosaurus rex were not running, not chasing, not displaying power. They stood still. They observed. They waited. The body of T-Rex tells an intriguing truth. Despite possessing an enormous bite force, its skeletal and joint structure was not optimized for long pursuits. This suggests that its strength lay in choosing the right moment, not in continuous effort. A precise, brief attack that ended quickly, this was the most energy-efficient survival strategy. At a deep psychological level, this touches an ancient Jungian principle. Instinct is not chaos, but natural intelligence before the ego interferes. Predatory dinosaurs did not worry about hunting. When hungry, the body signaled. When satiated, instinct settled. There was no mental rumination, no prolonged inner narrative, only action when needed and quiet when not. Even speed, so often associated with predators, was not central. Research suggests that most carnivorous dinosaurs moved at moderate speeds, fast enough to seize opportunity but not so fast as to burn through energy. Their speed was the speed of survival, not the speed of proving anything. Here, a gentle contrast with modern human life becomes visible. We often remain in a constant hunting mode, chasing goals, achievements, recognition, even when it is no longer necessary. The dinosaur world was not like this. They entered tension only when required, and when it ended, the entire system returned to silence. This story does not lead you into a chase. It simply opens a door to see primal instinct as a gentle gatekeeper, not an intruder. In the next part, we will move deeper into speed, reflex, and strategy, always at a slow rhythm, so you do not need to stay alert, but only to listen as if hearing a very distant, very ancient, and very safe story. When we speak of dinosaur speed, we are often drawn to numbers, kilometers per hour faster or slower than humans, whether T-Rex could outrun prey. But in the ancient world, speed was not a competition, and certainly not a measure of worth. For dinosaurs, speed was a temporary tool, used at the right moment then immediately released. Biomechanical studies show that most dinosaurs, including predators, were not designed for sustained running. Large bones, heavy mass, high joint stress, all suggest that continuous running was costly, and nature avoids waste. Instead, the dinosaur world followed a different rhythm, slow to observe, slow to store energy, and fast only when necessary. Their speed resembled a short wave rising, then quickly retreating. There was no prolonged tension, no excessive mental preparation. When action ended, the body naturally returned to rest. At a deep psychological level, Carl Jung emphasized that healthy instinct does not maintain constant stimulation. Only when the ego interferes excessively does a being become trapped in prolonged vigilance. Dinosaurs with minds not burdened by excessive narrative lived fully within each biological moment. A carnivorous dinosaur did not think it must be fast. It responded when needed. And because it did not try to be fast all the time, it could truly be fast when required. This offers a strangely soothing feeling to modern listeners. In our world, we carry speed even when lying down. Heart rates remain high. Thoughts keep running. The body rarely receives the signal that it is safe to slow down. But in the dinosaur world, slowness was the default. Speed was the exception. When you hear about dinosaur speed in this story, do not imagine pursuit. Imagine a rhythm that knows how to stop, how to rest, how to wait. A rhythm where speed does not become pressure. And as the narrative slows, your body may remember something very ancient. You do not need to be fast to be safe. In the dinosaur world, survival did not rely on extended thinking. There were no what-if chains, no prolonged hesitation. Instead, life was guided by subtle reflex and a state we might call quiet awareness. Dinosaur reflexes were not blind reactions. They were the result of millions of years of evolution bodies learning to read the environment faster than thought. A faint vibration in the ground, a barely visible shift in wind, a shadow passing in an instant. The body responded before thought could form. At depth, this is the intelligence of instinct, what Jung called the wisdom of the unconscious. He wrote, "The unconscious is not just evil by nature, it is also the source of the highest good. For dinosaurs, the unconscious was not darkness, but the coordination center of life. Reflex did not create tension because the ego was absent. When danger passed, reflex dissolved. There was no replaying, no mental looping. This is especially important for those listening before sleep. Modern humans often react correctly, but never finish reacting. The body is safe, yet the mind continues telling the danger story. Heart rate slows, but thoughts do not. Dinosaurs, though living amid danger, could return to calm quickly. Their awareness was not rigid vigilance, but soft presence, a wide attention that did not fixate on threat, yet remained responsive. Imagine a herd of dinosaurs standing still on an ancient plain. No voices, no visible communication, yet their bodies were listening to the world. Not empty silence, but living silence. From a Jungian view, this is a state where the ego steps aside. When the ego retreats, deeper mind-body systems can operate. In that state, life does not need effort to survive. As you listen now, you do not need to try to stay awake or to relax. Simply allow your body to do what it has known for a very long time, like dinosaurs once did: respond when needed and rest when there is no danger. In Part 4D, the rhythm will slow even further. We will leave movement and enter stillness, where survival is no longer action but peaceful presence in ancient time. Part 5. Behavioral traces. Footprints in stone. There is something strange about dinosaurs. They vanished tens of millions of years ago, yet their movement remains, not through roars, not through spectacle, but through something far humbler: footprints pressed into stone. In geological silence, fossilized footprints are like very old whispers. They tell no stories, with words require no explanation. They simply exist, and if we listen slowly enough, deeply enough, they begin to speak. One step, then another, parallel, out of sync, accelerating, turning. Trackways do not only show where dinosaurs went, they hint at how they lived, alone or together, calm or hurried, stable or unsettled. Long, straight lines of large herds. Small footprints nestled among larger ones as if protected. Here, science touches psychology. Carl Jung said humans leave traces not only in memory, but in the collective unconscious. With dinosaurs, something similar happened materially. Their behavior was recorded not in brains, but in stone. Each footprint is a moment that passed. A foot placed with full body weight, instinct, life. No hesitation, no rumination, just action at the right time. The more we observe these footprints, the more ordinary life appears. Not constant hunting, not constant catastrophe. Mostly walking, steady movement, unhurried. Some trackways stretch hundreds of meters, dozens of individuals moving together. No chaos, no crowding. Not monsters, but community. From a Jungian view, this reflects ancient social instinct, older than language, culture, or personal consciousness. Moving together was not a moral choice, but a natural structure of life. Then there are other footprints. Some show irregularity, uneven steps, shortened strides, deeper impressions as if the body carried injury. Some trackways reveal wounded individuals continuing for long distances. No tragedy is narrated, no lamentation. Just a quiet truth: life continues even when imperfect. Modern minds often believe one must be okay to continue, whole, unhurt. Dinosaurs suggest another logic: injury does not equal stopping nor despair. Jung called this the wisdom of the life instinct, energy that does not need hope or ideals. It simply continues. The footprints do not proclaim strength. They show that life does not question whether it is strong. It simply takes the next step. And then the most important thing: after millions of years, the footprints stop. They no longer move. Yet in stillness, they become witnesses. Not for judgment, not for praise, only to say, "I was here." As you listen, your own mind may be leaving traces in slowing breath, relaxing muscles, permission to stop moving. Unlike dinosaurs, you do not need to keep stepping. You may stop. Footprints tell movement. Sleep is where movement ends safely. In the next part, we will approach a great rupture in history, where a world changes and life learns to release old forms to continue differently. For now, let the story settle. There is a beautiful paradox in fossil footprints. They were made with no intention of preservation. Dinosaurs did not walk to leave history. They simply lived. And because of that, the footprints carry rare authenticity, truth, without self-consciousness. Jung distinguished the ego that creates image from actions arising from deeper unconscious layers. Fossil footprints belong there. They carry no message, yet speak profoundly. Scientists studying trackways observe rhythm, not just size. The rhythm of ancient life. Some show synchronized herds. No clear leader. No control, only natural regulation. In Jungian terms, this is spontaneous order, individuals merging with the whole without losing themselves. Modern humans obsess over pace, leadership, synchronization. Dinosaurs did not. They walked to bodily rhythm, herd rhythm, environmental rhythm, creating a sense of safety. Other trackways show care. Smaller individuals walking beside larger ones. Many believe this indicates protection. No lullaby, no memory, only steady presence. Jung said deep safety comes not from reason but from primal experiences of being accompanied. Dinosaurs may have lived within that feeling. Some tracks stop abruptly. Not erosion but redirection. Life turned elsewhere. In Jungian psychology, gaps are not deficits. They are where the unconscious speaks. Not all journeys conclude clearly. Some dissolve into larger flows. Accepting this softens the mind. You do not need to know where dinosaurs went. You do not need conclusions. Just as now, you do not need to follow every detail. Footprints exist without explanation. Sleep is the same. Some footprints are uneven, limping, deep on one side, compensating for injury. What moves scientists is not pain but continuation. Dinosaurs were injured and kept walking. Bones healed, life detoured. Jung wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Here, injury is not tragedy but restructuring. The body asks not why but how to continue. Some herds slowed to match injured members. Not conscious kindness but systemic balance. Healthy communities, Jung believed, are not injury-free but containing injury. If you are tired or fractured, you may not need healing now. Perhaps only permission to slow. Imperfect footprints remain. Sleep does not wait for perfection. It comes when the body feels safe enough to continue later. Footprints stop not because dinosaurs vanished, but because stone finished its task, preserving moments long enough for us to listen. Trackways do not explain. They simply are. And this silence resembles sleep. As you sleep, your body leaves traces, slower heart rate, deeper breath, slower brain waves. Memory reorganizes by emotional meaning, not logic. Jung reminded us the unconscious cares not for precision but for wholeness. The unconscious is poetic. Footprints are poetry of ancient life. Sleep is poetry of the present body. You need not understand dinosaurs to rest. Just as dinosaurs did not need to understand wounds to walk. Deep in your brain, today's trackways are slowing. Thoughts dissolve like footprints in wet clay. Nothing left to complete, nothing to fix. Ancient life walked long, then stopped not in death, but in transition. Now it is your turn. Let your body place the final footprint of today onto the bed. Not straight, not beautiful, just real. Part 6. Catastrophe and Transition. There was a moment in Earth's history when everything changed without warning, without negotiation. A massive asteroid struck the planet, releasing energy beyond any volcano or earthquake. Light flared. Then darkness lingered. At the end of the Cretaceous, the dinosaur world over 160 million years old closed. Not with a roar, but with dust, ash, and sunless skies. Yet extinction is not pure destruction. It is a deep filter. Old forms recede so new structures may emerge. Jung said, crisis is rarely just loss. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. After impact, the world cooled. Darkness favored smallness. Birds emerged not as conquerors but adapters. Dinosaurs did not vanish. They transformed. In a Jungian sense, birds are dinosaurs continued heavy, receding light rising. Just as personal endings refine qualities rather than erase them. Your body now does the same, filtering tension, keeping what helps you reach morning. You need not resolve every asteroid tonight. Dinosaurs rested so birds could fly. And tonight you may rest so a lighter version of you wakes tomorrow. Nature did not rush. Life adjusted. Jung called this symbolic death ego dissolving. So deeper structures arise. What does not want to die cannot be reborn. Earth did not regret dinosaurs. It adjusted rhythm. Your body does too. Sleep is a small, controlled catastrophe of consciousness. Ego steps aside. You need not force sleep. Just do not resist it. After giants vanished, Earth continued quietly. From deep time, extinction is phase shift. Jung wrote, "The unconscious is not bound by time." Thus, dinosaurs remain alive in imagination, sleeping deep within memory, like your own endings softened by time. Tonight, you need not judge your day. Sleep needs no understanding. Dinosaurs were once Earth's heartbeat. Then the rhythm changed. Now your heartbeat slows, breath lengthens, thoughts dissolve. Nothing more to finish. Imagine Earth after the impact, vast silence. Life returns slowly. Small, adaptable. Strength gives way to flexibility. Jung believed collapse restructures, not destroys. Earth did not grieve dinosaurs. It adjusted. Your tired days, unwanted changes, endings, they are not proof of weakness. They are invitations to a new rhythm. Sleep is that rhythm. You need not sleep correctly. Just stay still long enough. Night asks no effort, only permission. And as you allow yourself to settle, a quieter order forms. Part 7. Feathers, color, and expression. After catastrophe, the prehistoric world was not cold or barren. As grey stone images fade, another world appears, softer, more expressive. Science reveals a beautiful truth: feathers did not originate for flight. Flight came later. Feathers first provided warmth, sensation, communication, visibility. Life cared not only about survival but about presence. Feathers felt wind. Colors reflected light. Expression emerged. Color was language. Health, maturity, safety. Jung believed instinct drives expression as well as survival. The unconscious holds images wanting recognition. The psyche is a living, breathing process. Dinosaurs were not machines. They lived in a world rich with signals. Imagine prehistoric forest light touching brown, red, deep blue feathers. No audience, no performance, just being. Humans, too, express without strategy. Jung called this individuation unconscious forms finding expression. You need not understand expression to allow it. The dinosaur world was alive with subtle signals. Listening now, a very old part of you listens, wordless sensing. Feathers also listened. Color responded. Bodies read light, wind, shadow. Jung warned modern humans lost bodily sensing through rationalism. Dinosaurs lived inseparable from environment. A herd stands still beneath ancient trees. No action, only presence. For humans, this is profound. Being is enough. When ego loosens, energy self-regulates. As you listen, your body does the same. Breath slows, face softens, shoulders drop. You are not so different from dinosaurs. Sleep comes when systems sense safety. Color and feathers also allowed self-recognition, harmony between inside and outside. Dinosaurs did not judge beauty. They felt fit. Modern humans ask, how do I look more than, am I in rhythm? Imagine a dinosaur at sunset. Light and body converse. No ego, only being. This is why dinosaurs still touch us. a time before roles, images, expectations. Sleep is not achievement. It arises when inner conflict quiets. Jung said, when consciousness loosens, ancient symbols guide wholeness. If your mind slows, you are not losing focus. You are returning to an ancient rhythm. As prehistoric light fades, colors soften. Expression completes its cycle. Dinosaurs did not think about sleep. Bodies responded. Jung said, sleep is when ego releases control. Imagine a herd resting, breathing, warmth, presence. At the symbolic level, ego dissolves into collective safety. If your eyelids grow heavy, it is not fatigue, it is recognition. Night is when you are allowed not to express anything at all. You need not hold image or attention. Like prehistoric dusk, let day's colors rest. Sleep forms quietly a natural continuation of a completed rhythm. In the next part, the story will continue, but now you may let the ancient world fade gently into darkness and allow yourself to drift with it slowly, safely, and peacefully. Part 8. Reproduction and Nurturing. If one were to choose the gentlest moment in the dinosaur world, it would not be hunting or migration, but the moment when life prepares to pass itself on to the next generation. In popular imagination, dinosaurs are often associated with power, size, and raw survival instinct. Yet fossil evidence whispers a different story, slower, softer, and deeply familiar to humans. Many dinosaur species did not simply lay eggs and leave. They stayed. They built nests, carefully arranged their eggs, returned to check on them, and in some cases protected the nest with their own bodies. Fossilized nests, arranged in circular patterns. Adult skeletons, positioned directly above clutches of eggs, reveal a behavior that feels strikingly familiar care. Not calculation, but the natural tendency of life to preserve itself. Here, reproduction is not merely biological. It is a relationship stretched across time. Some dinosaurs gave birth to young that were nearly ready for the world, able to move, forage, and defend themselves at a basic level. Others were born fragile and dependent, requiring prolonged protection. This diversity reflects an essential truth: there is no single correct way to nurture life. Carl Jung wrote that the instinct to care is among the most ancient expressions of the collective unconscious. It does not belong to morality or rationality, but to a deeper layer, where life recognizes that it continues only through support. In the dinosaur world, this instinct was unmistakably present, wordless, symbolicless, yet enduring. Especially intriguing are communal nesting grounds where dozens or even hundreds of nests lie close together. Reproduction did not occur in isolation. It was communal. By choosing the same place to bring forth the next generation, individuals shared risk information and safety. A primordial society where life was protected not by a single body, but by many presences at once. At a symbolic level, Jung might have called this the image of the Great Mother, not a single being, but a holding field in which vulnerability is allowed to exist. In these nesting grounds, hatchlings did not need to know how dangerous the world was. They only needed to grow. The rest was handled by the system around them. Listening to this story before sleep, you may recognize something deeply familiar. You too were once such a being. A time when you were not independent, not strong, not aware of the world, and yet you were held. You may not remember it consciously, but your body still does. Sleep at a deep level is a return to that feeling of being nurtured. When you lie still and release control, your body is saying, "Now I allow myself to be cared for." Like eggs in a nest, like hatchlings within the circle of the herd, you do not need to go anywhere. You only need to remain. The dinosaur world, though harsh, made room for gentleness. And perhaps that is why their story still touches us. Not because of grandeur, but because of an intimate familiarity. Life always finds a way to continue through care, through community, and through time. In the next part, we will move toward other forms of dinosaur adaptation. But for now, let this thought remain with you. You do not need to be strong in order to rest. You only need to allow yourself to be held, as life has always done for a very long time. If earlier we saw dinosaurs as silent parents, here we slow down further to feel time itself, the invisible force shaping all reproductive behavior in the ancient world. Dinosaur reproduction was not a moment but a prolonged process. Eggs did not hatch immediately. Hatchlings did not grow in days. Between laying eggs and life standing on its own lay weeks, even months of waiting. And during this waiting, nothing happened in a dramatic sense, only steady presence. Fossils show that many dinosaurs returned to their nests repeatedly. This suggests spatial memory orientation, and more importantly, a motivation to return. Not for immediate reward, but for a bond with something not yet fully present, an investment in a future they might never see completed. Jung emphasized that one of the deepest energies of the unconscious is orientation toward the future, a pull toward what has not yet taken form. In dinosaurs, this orientation was not conscious, yet clearly expressed through reproductive care, tending to a being not yet fully alive instinctively, without reason. Some species even adjusted nesting behavior according to environmental conditions, relocating nests seasonally, choosing higher ground to avoid flooding, or selecting areas with more stable temperatures. Reproduction then was not mechanical but responsive, a quiet dialogue between body and world. At a deeper level, this carries a profoundly sleep-inducing message. Life does not rush, it waits, it observes. It adjusts its rhythm to larger cycles. Before sleep, humans often feel anxious about what is unfinished or not yet arrived. The dinosaur world reminds us that not yet does not mean wrong timing. Sometimes not yet simply means growing quietly. Sleep is the same. It does not arrive on command. It comes when the nervous system senses that pressure has lifted, that observation has ceased. Like a nest placed in safety sleep, needs a space free from interference. As you lie still now, you are participating in an ancient act, allowing time to do its work. In the next part of this chapter, we will explore the connection between reproduction, community, and collective memory, where life is not only born, but remembered. Communal nesting sites found worldwide reveal ancient breeding colonies. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of nests arranged with order, as if entire landscapes were devoted to one purpose, protecting continuity. This raises a quiet, profound question. Must nurturing belong to a single individual? In these communities, danger did not vanish. Predators existed. Weather remained harsh, but risk was shared. When many hatchlings emerged together, survival chances increased. When many adults were present, vigilance dispersed. No command, no hierarchy, only a shared rhythm. Jung called this collective patterns, unconscious structures that do not require conscious learning. In dinosaurs, reproduction was not individual behavior, but communal ritual. From this view, life does not place all its hope on one being. It spreads itself out. It trusts the many. And that unconscious trust creates resilience. Evidence suggests that hatchlings of some species interacted early, moving in small groups, responding together to danger. Society did not begin in adulthood. It was installed from the moment they emerged from the egg. In Jungian symbolism, this is the young ego held by the collective. Before identity forms, the being is already contained within safety. No understanding required, no choice necessary, only presence. And this has a deeply calming effect, because much of human anxiety arises from beliefs such as, I must handle everything myself, I must carry all responsibility, I must grow up alone. The dinosaur world whispers the opposite. Life is always supported by structures larger than itself. Even if you do not feel it, even if you are alone in this room, your nervous system is still being cared for by a community of cells, hormones, and biological rhythms. Like an ancient nesting ground, each element doing its small part. Part 9. Specialized anatomy and diverse lifestyles. After reproduction, nurturing, and community, our journey moves deeper into form where life inscribes its stories upon the body. In the dinosaur world, anatomy was never accidental. Every horn, armor, plate, crest, or tail club was shaped by millions of years of listening to the environment and responding with form. Armor was not only for defense. Tail clubs were not only weapons. Horns were not merely for impact. Seen slowly and gently, dinosaur bodies were both weapon and language. Many anatomical structures served dual purposes: survival and social communication. A crest could deter predators and allow recognition from afar. Thick armor reduced injury while signaling maturity, status, even health. In this view, dinosaurs did not display their forms. They existed through them. Carl Jung wrote, "The form of the world is the form of the psyche." In dinosaurs, anatomy becomes psychology fossilized. A slow-moving herbivore living in herds developed differently from a solitary predator. A semi-aquatic dinosaur like Spinosaurus, with its elongated snout and flattened tail, was not an experiment, but an answer to an ancient question: how to live between two worlds. On land, some species became biological athletes, fast, agile, reactive. In water, others learned to slow down, drift with currents, use sustained force rather than bursts. No strategy was superior, only fitting. This is why this section is especially soothing. Modern life often suggests there is only one correct way to exist, one rhythm, one ideal, one successful body or mind. Dinosaurs tell another story, patient, quiet, unquestioning. Each form whispers you do not need to resemble anyone else to exist. In the Jungian unconscious, such diversity touches the archetype of primordial plurality, where difference sustains the whole. As you hear of armor, horns, and crests, allow them to become symbols of gentle adaptation. Each structure is acceptance of environment, of limits, of individual path. And as your mind slows, you may realize your own body carries its own anatomy, patterns of defense, reaction, communication shaped by experience. They do not need fixing now. They only need to be seen. If anatomy is strategy, then lifestyle is how that strategy unfolds, daily, silently, without thought. Dinosaurs differed not only in form but in rhythm, in how they occupied space, how they were here. Some lived like moving mountains. Giant sauropods, slow and immense, reshaped ecosystems simply by existing. Their strength was passive. Influence deeply Jungian, the great does not strive to matter. It already is. Others lived like quick strokes across ancient stone, small, alert, adaptable. Survival through disappearance. Some lived at boundaries. Spinosaurus existed between land and water, reading two systems at once. Jung spoke of people who live at the edge between conscious and unconscious, individual and collective. Spinosaurus embodies this anciently. Others lived nearly unseen, armored, camouflaged, minimal in movement. Survival through not becoming the center of any story. Not failure, but choice. This matters before sleep. Modern society praises one lifestyle: fast, visible, efficient. The dinosaur world, vast across millions of years, shows there is no single rhythm. Some rhythms last long, some flash briefly. None are wrong. Perhaps your rhythm is different. Perhaps you do not need to change your inner shape to rest. Nature does not seek perfection, it seeks fit. No dinosaur was optimal for all conditions. Each was a temporary answer. None were wrong. Jung taught that suffering arises when one lives in a form not their own. Dinosaurs did not compare necks to horns. They inhabited their form fully and let the world adapt around them. When this is understood, an ancient tension dissolves the pressure to be right, optimal enough. As you lie here, your body may whisper the same message: you do not need to be different to rest. Like dinosaurs at night, immense, varied, once ruling time, finally lying still in their own shapes, allowing the world to turn slowly on. Part 10. Senses, brain, and perception. When modern humans think of the brain, a familiar bias arises. Bigger brains mean greater intelligence. The dinosaur world, like most of life's history, whispers a different truth. Intelligence is not measured in size but in harmony between body senses and environment. Many dinosaurs had brains that appeared small relative to their bodies. This did not mean poor perception. Their brains were organized for survival, balancing immense weight, coordinating neck, tail, and limbs, responding swiftly to danger. Imagine a sauropod walking. Each step is a silent neurological symphony: force, tilt, tail, swing. No thinking required, only rhythm. For predators, senses mattered even more than brain size. Vision tuned to detect distant motion, hearing sensitive to low frequencies. The ability to sense vibration and airflow allowed knowing before understanding. Jung believed consciousness was not the center of the psyche. Much of psychological life happens beyond words: intuition, reflex, bodily memory. Dinosaurs lived entirely in this realm. They did not think to run. They felt and moved. Their intelligence was presence. Modern humans live too much in the head. Yet the body knows when to slow, when it is safe. We rarely listen. Before sleep, this is gentle wisdom. You do not need to think better. You only need to let ancient systems do what they know. Enter safety and restoration. Like a dinosaur at night, not analyzing darkness, not worrying about tomorrow, simply listening to fatigue and stillness. As breath slows, intelligence shifts from thought to system. If earlier we saw the brain as silent coordinator, now we enter the senses' perception through contact. Vision reads space. Hearing feels vibration. Recognition without analysis. Jung said before, understanding we feel. Night invites this older awareness. You need not concentrate or understand. Just allow senses to rest. Notice your body now, weight-supported breath moving naturally. This is pre-linguistic awareness, the state sleep loves. Dinosaurs did not try to rest. When safe rest happened, humans still carry this ancient intelligence. As the chapter ends, rhythm slows. Science reveals no loud conclusion, only a gentle truth. Intelligence does not require tension. Dinosaurs existed for unimaginable spans without abstract thought. Their intelligence was dispersed, biological, rhythmic. Jung would say ego was absent. No control, no proving, only response. Their rest, we imagine, was whole, no rumination, no regret. Modern humans forget this. We bring thinking to bed. Dinosaurs remind us rest is permission, not action. You do not need to understand more. The story has done its work. Imagine an ancient land at night. Warmth spreading, breath deepening. Awareness does not disappear, it rests. You may rest too. Part 11, Scientific Discovery. Reading life from fossils. As the rhythm of the dinosaur story slows, as ancient senses settle like a long breath before sleep, we enter another space, the space of scientific discovery. But not loud science, not dry numbers. This is science as listening, where humans bow to time to read life from fragile fragments. Fossils appear as stone, yet to science and intuition they are compressed stories. A femur speaks of gait and weight. A worn tooth reveals diet and scarcity. Fossilized dung becomes a biological diary. Skin impressions show texture. Egg nests reveal vulnerability. Each fragment builds not just species but life. Modern tools read gently, CT scans see without breaking. Models reconstruct movement. 3D prints allow touch without loss. Many discoveries come not from new digs but from old bones reread. The past does not change, understanding does. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Fossils are Earth's unconscious. They speak when we listen patiently. Reading fossils becomes spiritual practice, accepting gaps, living with mystery. For the listener before sleep, you need not remember or understand everything. Like scientists, you may lay pieces down. Fossils lie still for millions of years, meaningful without motion. Your mind, too, need not work constantly. Science teaches humility before time. Uncertainty becomes virtue. Not every fracture is damage. Some are signs of strength. You do not need to understand yourself immediately. Like fossils, meaning emerges with time. As museums fade, let analysis rest. The story continues, you do not need to hold it. Not everything must be explained to have meaning. Jung wrote, "The most important problems of life are fundamentally insoluble." This realization soothes. Your questions may rest. Like fossils behind glass, seen not overexposed, depth remains. Your mind seeks softness now, not answers. Fossils are complete in silence. So are you. Science at its deepest reconciles with not knowing. As you allow not knowing tonight, breath slows. The story does not end, it softens. You need not keep up. You are ready to sleep. As the scientific journey closes, what remains is a human feeling standing before something vast and unhurried. Time is not your enemy. Science knows when to dim the light. Like paleontologists, patient and gentle, the mind finds sleep in rhythm. Jung said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos." Your body knows this. Imagine a quiet laboratory at night. Everything in place, nothing required. This is the state sleep asks for. You do not need to finish the day to deserve rest. Let knowledge stay here. Carry only peace from an ancient world where everything has its time. And in this slow breath, as the story becomes a distant whisper, you may allow yourself to drift into sleep, naturally, safely, and very gently. Part 12. Dinosaurs and Ecosystems. Beneath the familiar stories of dinosaurs as gigantic creatures, fierce predators, or victims of a cosmic catastrophe, there exists a deeper, quieter layer of meaning. Dinosaurs did not merely live within ecosystems, they were among the forces that shaped those ecosystems. Seen through this lens, the prehistoric world is no longer a static stage where species appear and vanish, but a living flow in which all beings together wove the fabric of life. Imagine the Earth tens of millions of years ago not as a fossil museum but as a breathing body. Fern forests stretching wide flooded plains, ancient coastlines all bore the imprint of enormous footsteps. Herbivorous dinosaurs, much like modern elephants, were not passive consumers. They broke young trees, opened clearings for sunlight to reach the ground, enabling other plants to grow. Their dung enriched the soil, seeds traveled far through migration, and landscapes were subtly redesigned according to the rhythm of these massive herds. Here, dinosaurs appear not as isolated individuals, but as regulatory forces like the slow heartbeat of a vast ecosystem. Carl Jung often emphasized that humans underestimate invisible yet foundational structures, those that operate beneath consciousness. The prehistoric ecosystem functioned in the same way. Dinosaur power lay not only in size but in their quiet role in keeping the world moving. That world was never still. Continents drifted, oceans opened and closed, climates warmed and cooled. Dinosaurs did not dominate a fixed Earth. They lived within constant change, and within that change they adapted. Some species developed long necks to reach higher canopies. Others became smaller, reproduced faster, or altered feeding behavior. Evolution was not a race for strength, but an ongoing dialogue with the environment. They were never alone in this dialogue. Insects pollinated early flowering plants. Small mammals hid in shadows, learning survival beneath giant feet. Reptiles, amphibians, early birds, all coexisted within a dense web. Every species, no matter how small, held a thread in life's tapestry. Through a Jungian lens, this prehistoric ecosystem resembles the collective unconscious. There is no absolute center, no single controller. Instead, there is interdependence, where every action sends ripples outward. Herbivores shape forests. Forests influence climate. Climate affects countless lives. All are interwoven, supporting and limiting one another. Thus, when a group of dinosaurs disappeared, the ecosystem did not merely lose a species, it reorganized. Gaps opened, opportunities arose, and life continued. This offers a feeling both fragile and comforting. Nothing lasts forever, yet nothing ends completely. Life transforms. At this gentle rhythm, we can release the image of dinosaurs as symbols of violence and see them instead as unconscious gardeners of ancient Earth. They did not know they were shaping landscapes, just as trees do not know they create oxygen. Yet that very unawareness was the foundation of stability. Listening before sleep, you need not remember names or dates. What matters is the feeling of being placed within a world where everything has its place, where life does not rush to prove its worth. Like the prehistoric ecosystem, your body and mind are complex networks. Breath, heartbeat, memory, emotion, all quietly cooperating to guide you toward rest. Dinosaurs lived, moved, ate, and rested within constant change. And when their role ended, the world did not collapse, it shifted. You may allow yourself to trust that today's fatigue is also a phase, not something that must be solved tonight. Now, as the story of dinosaur ecosystems settles, imagine a quiet prehistoric evening. Light softens. Herds move slowly toward rest. Insects begin their song. Ancient forests exhale a long breath. The vast world enters its own sleep. And so do you. Nothing more to do. Nothing more to understand. Just being here, held by an invisible network, as Earth once was held by gentle giants in their rhythms. Imagine an ancient morning. Dew rests on fern leaves. The ground is warm and soft. Herbivorous dinosaurs begin their slow movement. Each step is not just personal motion, but an ecological signal. Soil compacts seeds, sink deeper, insects stir. Early birds rise. One small act can initiate a living chain. In that world, insects played roles far larger than their size. They decomposed remains, recycled organic matter, pollinated early flowers. Without them, the immense biomass of dinosaurs would suffocate the ecosystem. Through these small beings, life circulated instead of stagnating. Plants were not mere backdrops. They responded to grazing by altering leaf shapes, developing mild toxins, accelerating growth. Each bite initiated a silent chemical dialogue. Jung said nature mirrors deep psychological structures. Here we see a clear symbol. Life argues not with words, but with adaptation. Even predators maintained balance. By removing weak, sick, or old individuals, they strengthened prey populations. Death was not destruction, but adjustment. A thought unsettling to modern minds, yet deeply soothing when seen from afar. Everything has a role, even endings. As continents shifted and climates changed, ecosystems stretched rather than collapsed. Some relationships faded, others formed. Life did not cling to old forms. It flowed like the unconscious Jung described, always seeking paths of least resistance. Listen slowly, and this story ceases to be about dinosaurs. It becomes a story of mutual reliance, a world where no one carries everything alone. Each being does its part and stability emerges. You need not remember structures or species. Simply feel a gentle truth. Like ancient ecosystems, your body and mind are sustained by countless quiet processes. As you lie still, internal links continue working, breathing, circulation, repair. And like that ancient world, you do not need control for life to function, just permission. Looking deeper, one difference from modern life becomes clear. Everything was slow. No clocks, no schedules. Time flowed with light seasons, geological change. Dinosaurs moved not in haste, but because ecological rhythms called them. Jung said the unconscious follows its own laws, untouched by will. So did dinosaur ecosystems, unplanned yet profoundly intelligent. Forests regrew. Species expanded or receded. No absolute failure, only gradual change. Modern minds crave speed and clarity. But in the quiet night, the dinosaur world offers an invitation. Not all processes must be rushed. Your body follows ancient rhythms. When you force sleep, you oppose them. When you release, sleep arrives naturally. Imagine prehistoric night. Giants lie still. Their warmth softens the earth. Insects hum. Wind moves ancient leaves. No goals, no loss, only presence. At this rhythm you may slow. Let your mind drift like an ancient river flowing long before you, continuing as you sleep. Closing this picture, what remains is not power or size, but coexistence within change. Dinosaurs lived amid drifting continents and evolving plants, and life continued. Their ecosystem was a woven tapestry. Each thread mattered. Jung called this the self-regulating order of the whole, where ego is only a part of a larger context. Listening now, you may feel comfort. You do not carry everything alone. Breath breathes, heart beats, mind sorts memory in the dark. Life does not need perfection to continue, only flexibility. Imagine a prehistoric forest at dusk. Light fades. Giants lie down. Footprints remain unhurried. As you close your eyes, you enter another ecosystem, the ecosystem of sleep. Nothing required. Everything inside you already knows what comes next. Part 13. Birds, the continuation of dinosaurs. When the Plest, dinosaur story seems closed by ancient rock and a distant asteroid, modern science opens another door, quietly whispering, dinosaurs never truly vanished. They changed form. Today they are near you, alive in birds perched on branches or gliding across morning skies. Birds are not distant descendants. Biologically, they are dinosaurs. Hollow yet strong bones, fused clavicles, forming the wishbone air sac, breathing systems, bipedal posture, nesting and parental care, all existed in feathered dinosaurs tens of millions of years ago. When you watch a bird tilt its head, you are seeing prehistory refined by time. Flight was not sudden magic. Feathers began as warmth display communication. Arms helped balance leap glide. Slowly, patience turned gliding into flight. No switch flipped. Only time. Jung saw this clearly. The unconscious evolves through quiet accumulation. The new always carries the old. A flying bird holds memory of a running dinosaur. So too in the human psyche, maturity grows from ancient instincts. Every bird is a living memory of Earth. Morning birdsong echoes a world once filled with giants. Life does not erase its past, it lightens it and carries it forward. This comforts before sleep. If dinosaurs persist, so do your experiences. Nothing vanishes. It transforms. Tonight, imagine a bird sleeping on a branch. Its breath carries ancient rhythm. In its sleep, millions of years collapse into peace. And you are the same, a continuation of many stories. No need to hurry. Just rest and let life carry you. Bird flight is not erasure of gravity, but elevation. Old movement lifted into a new layer. Scientists find dinosaur behavior in birds, communal nesting, fierce egg protection warning calls. Ancient scripts rewritten in lighter bodies. Jung spoke of collective unconscious. Birds are biological memory, remembering through form, not thought. Extinction, then, is not total loss. Some things choose quieter existence. When humans find peace in the sky, perhaps deep within, we recognize continuity. Sleep is like flight, shedding weight. Worries soften, like dinosaurs becoming birds. Dinosaurs also live within us as archetypes, universal, ancient images. They appear in dreams, not randomly. Jung saw them as reminders of primal energy or the need to return to slower rhythms. Though frightening in form, they often feel solemn and still like mountains or oceans. This awe calms. Placed beside deep time, the ego relaxes. Pressures fade. Dinosaurs do not demand action. Their existence soothes. When seen not as monsters but symbols, dinosaurs grow quiet. Imagine a resting dinosaur. No hunt, just breathing. Earth vibrates gently with its heart. For modern minds, this is a healing image. Value does not require action. Jung believed images heal more than logic. A resting dinosaur becomes permission. You need not be small to be safe, nor strong to rest. Perhaps this is why dinosaur stories soothe before sleep. Their ancient time slows the mind. As you listen, control softens. The unconscious works quietly. Dinosaurs long gone from matter remain as silent night guardians of time. They remind us before personal stories there was a vast, slow world. And within that stillness you too may rest. Part 14. Deeper meaning, time, fragility, and continuation. As the dinosaur story settles, a quiet question arises. What does this say about us? Dinosaurs mirror time itself, showing that no dominance is permanent. Even rulers of Earth vanish. Against geological time, human worry is a blink not to diminish but to lighten ego. Jung said, "Ego anxiety fades when placed in a larger context. Life favors flexibility, not strength. Extinction is not annihilation, but transformation." Dinosaurs became birds' memory archetypes. Endings are not failure. Loss is not meaningless. Life adapts quietly. Minds heal through permission, not force. As you lie listening, you are doing what life does best, pausing to reorganize. You need not solve life tonight. Dinosaurs lived fully. Then the world changed. No tragedy, only motion. You belong to that motion. Time, when heard, slowly becomes spacious. Value is not permanence but right participation. Not every phase must last. Some versions may leave. Jung called this individuation growth through small deaths. Dinosaurs adapted without pressure to be better. Perhaps that is why their stories soothe us. Fragility is not weakness, it is life. Sleep is an ancient ritual. No resistance, no control. Life is not measured by endurance but by flow. Even the strongest must dissolve when needed. Jung saw crises as transitions, not failures. Extinction is deep sleep energy preparing for new forms. Sleep comes when safety is felt. These stories whisper great worlds rested too. You need not stay alert to exist. And now, as this chapter closes, carry nothing with you. The story has done its work. Time has softened, and so have you. Part 15. Returning to sleep. And then, after all the vast movements of time, after eras stretching far beyond the measures of human memory, the story begins to grow quiet. Not because everything has been said, but because the moment has come when nothing more needs to be said. Dinosaurs did not disappear with a sound. They did not leave the world with a farewell. They dissolved into the current of life, slowly the way twilight dissolves into night. There was no sharp boundary. Only light softening, colors deepening, and finally a stillness that settled over everything. Now you are invited to do the same. There is no need to keep following. No need to hold the thread of the story. No need to remember which part you are in. This journey does not end with a conclusion. It ends with a safe emptiness. Carl Jung once emphasized that the deepest place of healing in the psyche does not lie in rational understanding, but in the capacity to allow ancient images to pass through consciousness without being grasped. When a symbol has completed its task, it withdraws on its own, and what remains is not knowledge but peace. In this moment, dinosaurs are no longer beings to be observed. They become a background rhythm, like distant waves, like night wind in a deep forest. You do not need to see them. It is enough to know that they were once there and that now everything is resting. Let your shoulders sink a little heavier. Let your jaw loosen. Let your breath find its own rhythm. There is nothing being asked of you right now. In the ancient world, night did not carry the danger that the modern mind often imagines. For many creatures, night was a time of restoration, of conserving energy, of pausing action. The body knew when to wake, and it also knew when to sleep, long before human consciousness ever appeared. And your body knows this too. You do not need to sleep correctly. You do not need to sleep deeply. You do not need to achieve any particular state. Sleep is not an accomplishment. It is permission. Permission for the brain to stop simulating. Permission for memories to step back. permission for the unconscious to open doors that consciousness does not need to enter. If there are images still lingering, a prehistoric forest, an ancient sky, a giant creature lying still, let them fade like drawings washed by water. No need to push them away. No need to hold on. They will dissolve on their own. You are not sleeping alone. Just as the dinosaur world once functioned through countless simultaneous rhythms, your sleep is also the result of quiet cooperation within hormones, adjusting cells, repairing the nervous system, shifting into safety mode. Everything is doing its part. You do not need to participate. If your mind wanders, that is fine. If it becomes still, that is also fine. There is no right way to sleep. There is only a gradual letting go at the pace your body chooses. This story, like the dinosaurs, does not require you to continue. It is here only to bring you to the threshold and then step back. And now, as the words grow fewer, as silence begins to stretch longer than sound, you may let yourself drift without carrying anything from the ancient world or from the present one. Everything that needed to be known has been known. Everything that needed to be done has been done. Now is the time to rest. At some point in the night, the story no longer needs to be listened to. Not because it is less interesting, but because it has completed its function. Like dinosaurs, after a long day of moving, hunting, avoiding danger, finally finding a quiet patch of ground, lying down, and letting the body do the rest. No complex thoughts, no plans. Only the growing heaviness of muscles and breath slowing with the darkness. You are in that moment too. If you can still hear these words, treat them like distant wind, no need to answer, no need to understand. Carl Jung once said that the unconscious does not need instruction. It only needs the right conditions to operate on its own. And those conditions are often very simple: safety, silence, and the absence of pressure. You have been guided here to a place that does not demand alertness. Let your eyelids grow a little heavier. No need to close them tightly. Just allow. If a thought passes through, let it drift like a pale cloud in a prehistoric sky. No name, no meaning, nothing to remember. The dinosaur world was loud during the day, footsteps breaking leaves, wind through ancient trunks. But at night, even the largest creatures drew themselves into stillness. Strength does not need to be displayed while resting. Existence does not need proof while sleeping. And neither do you. There is no need to keep trying to relax. No need to remind yourself to sleep. The quiet whispers inside your body understand this rhythm far better than you do. Let the story blur. Let the voice recede. Let the spaces between thoughts widen. If sleep comes right now, let it come. If it comes more slowly, that is fine too. You are being supported by systems that were functioning millions of years before you were born. And in this moment, there is nothing more you need to do. Now you no longer need to follow. No need to listen carefully. No need to remember where you are in the story. These words are not here to be understood. They are here only to slow down with you. In that ancient world, when night fell over the dense forests, even time itself seemed to breathe more slowly. No clocks, no tomorrow. Only the steady rhythm of life at rest. Giant creatures that once shook the ground now lie still, their breath blending into the cool air. No goals, no effort, no questions needing answers. If any image appears in your mind, let it fade like an old painting placed back into darkness. If nothing appears at all, that is perfectly fine. Sleep does not need images. It only needs permission. Carl Jung reminded us that the unconscious does not speak in rational language. It speaks in rhythm, in sensations of safety, in the release of control. And right now, everything is safe enough. You are not the guard, not the observer, just a very small part of a very large flow that is resting. Your breath finds its own pace. Your body chooses the most comfortable position. You do not need to help. If you are already asleep, these words will pass without touching you. If you are still awake, they do not require you to stay that way. All paths lead back to rest. And in this moment, there is nothing to remember, nothing to hold. Only quiet, expanding, very slowly, very evenly, very deeply. And now, There is no next part. Not because the story has ended, but because you do not need another story. Everything that needed to be said was said a very long time ago. The ancient creatures have returned to the earth. The memories of them are settling too, like fine dust in the night air. No movement, no new thoughts. Only a stillness deep enough that you no longer need to do anything at all. If you can still hear these words, let them pass through you like wind through leaves without stopping. No need to focus. No need to pay attention. No need to stay awake. You do not have to sleep. You only have to stop here. Stop searching. Stop waiting. Stop even the act of letting go. Your body knows this path. It has walked it thousands of times before you ever thought about it. Breath slows on its own. Heart rhythm settles on its own. Consciousness withdraws like a tide leaving the shore. There is no moment when sleep begins. There is only the moment when you are no longer here to notice. And that is completely okay. There is nothing more to hear, nothing more to understand, nothing more to hold. Only night, only being held, only rest. Sleep deeply, sleep peacefully, and let the ancient world keep watch over your sleep.